Okay, here we go. Welcome to the stream. Sorry, I was on mute there. We have some pretty breaking news. SpongeBob hitting the blockchain. We're going to take a look at that. Is it going to be a actual NFT, or could this be like a Web 2 kind of sticker, what we've seen on the platform called Quid? All right, so let's take a quick look at this over here. So let me slide on over to the screen here. We're going to take a quick look at this video. And we're also going to kind of mute that so we don't get a copyright strike. But you can see Nickelodeon, SpongeBob SquarePants, and of course the Quid logo. And again, I highlighted in my post here that in the past we've seen some of these collectibles on Quid that were Web 2 kind of digital collectibles. They have actually converted them into Web 3 NFTs. You can actually go and mint them, and basically they are, in some cases, they have been interoperable with experiences like the Sandbox, which is pretty cool. It's an interesting concept I haven't seen on any platform. So kudos to Quid for actually, you know, basically having this kind of structure. It is pretty unique. I know people kind of balk at it sometimes from the VV community because, you know, it's like a versus scenario in some cases, you know, the brands on different platforms. So I kind of get where people are coming from on that end, but it's still pretty exciting to see brands operating in the space. And I talk about a lot of these brands, what they're doing. We've seen Bugatti on, you know, as a ordinal, them dropping those over there. I think some Mercedes has recently dropped some of their own collections. Ducati has basically dropped NFTs on XRP, which is really different. You know, not a lot of projects have done anything on XRP, so that was an interesting move. But Nickelodeon is interesting because it was on Recur, and if you guys remember right, Recur was one of those ones that obviously shuttered, but Quid was pretty much acquired by Animoca Brands. And as you know, Animoca Brands is really, really massive. They have their fingers in a lot of different pies in the entire Web3 space. They're really focusing on what's going on, Damien? I see you first comment. Thank you so much. Welcome to the chat. And if you're enjoying the stream, you know what to do. I just needed a good reason to stream as well. I mean, come on, like SpongeBob possibly being an NFT. This is one of those ones that could be absolutely major if these are going to be mintable. And this could be one of those brands that really does propel Quid to the kind of next level in terms of the wider NFT space. Right now, a lot of their IP that they do have is kind of just, you know, these kind of stickers and kind of Web 2 type of collectibles, which are actually pretty cool. Still, in a nutshell, if I can actually pull up this here without revealing too much information, I will. to show you some of my kind of NFTs on here. Let's see if I can actually pull it up. It's just going to show my listings here. All right, we will kind of skip that, I guess. Let me see if oh, here we go, my collection. All right, so we're going to slide this over here, and I'll show you a little bit of what I have in my collection. So if we can scroll down, I can show you a pretty high quality collectible on here. First of all, they have Kaiju, which is kind of cool. It's like the old school King Kong. They have some really neat stuff over there. Old school posters that actually have never been really shown to the public before. Let me see, collecting. Thought I had some of these. I think it was Satoshi or Satoshables or something like that. Let's see if I can pull this up and find it. Satoshiverse, I think it was, which are really insanely cool NFTs and really high quality. So here they are. Actually, you can see them right here. We can pull this up. This is one of their high quality type of NFTs that are like mintable. So as you can see, like Quid actually has some pretty good stuff over here. And this is just on my web browser. But imagine this, like, you know, if they have some kind of AR feature or some kind of feature where you can broadcast this out. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, think of like this could be in a showroom. I think some of their assets are even interoperable, like with spatial, things like that. I've seen that with their Weta Workshops, which is Weta Workshops is big. They worked with Lord of the Rings on some of their, you know, I think costumes, and even they still produce a lot of high quality collectibles from Weta Workshops. Weta Workshops is like a really big type of studio / you know, collectible type of platform. But yeah, look at that. That's pretty insane quality. If you ask me, pretty well detailed. You can see a lot of the fur. This is one example of where things could go on Quid. Now with a SpongeBob, you know, I don't know if these are going to be NFTs, but you can see that they're putting on some active, you know, it looks like they just did a cool little giveaway or a little contest here. But this is kind of unique, right? This is one of those social aspects in terms of these collectible platforms that we're kind of seeing here. You can take a look. If you click on these posts, you can actually go in and add a comment. They even have you know, you can chat back and forth with your friends on Quid. So again, this is so early and we're so, you know, this is such a nascent space. There could be a lot of directions of where Quid could go. You know, with the VV, they're still, you know, obviously they're still working on a lot of back end structure and things like that as well. So what we're seeing is the platforms that are kind of going to be around for a while. What they're doing is just continuing to iterate upon their, you know, successes, and they're building more features into their apps, you know, and so, you know, the sky's kind of the limit for some of these platforms and where they could go. You can even see some of their IP from on the Web 2 kind of side of things. You have Naruto, Golden Girls. That's pretty funny. I love to see that volume on number 7. That is quite funny. But yeah, you can see Florida Cat. That was like, I think the Rick and Morty, you know, creators, and you can see Rick and Morty's on there as well. Star Trek. So they actually already have a lot of these IP under their belt. You know, you can tell that they've worked with a lot of these brands obviously before. That obviously takes a lot of work to any kind of licensing. So it's not a stretch of an imagination that they would just offer, you know, NFTs, as more brands have actually gotten comfortable. You know, obviously with what we've seen on VV with a lot of these different brands that have dropped on VV, I would imagine a lot of these other brands are also kind of watching the space where things are going. And for the kind of the differences between the two and different platforms in general is where Quid is going is a little bit different. You know, a lot of people like to compare apples to apples, but what Quid is doing is they're kind of under that Animoca umbrella, and they are basically, when they do these kind of mintables, and they make them interoperable in some cases with the sandbox, which is kind of a new paradigm, meaning, you know, you can do it like basically kind of more with you know, it's just a different facet, different type of marketing avenue, and provide some of these brands maybe a little bit more penetration in one or more different areas, right? You have the digital collectible side where it's a win that they are going to be able to pick up some of these collectors and things like that on Quid. And then if they make them interoperable with the sandbox, then you have gamers also some exposure in the long run, you know, where sandbox is going in the long run. So Sandbox currently right now is they still have users over there playing and doing things in the sandbox, but I still think it's super early for the sandbox as well. And I think we'll see a lot of action in the future on the sandbox as they continue to build. There's tons of brands in the sandbox as well. We've seen, I think McDonald's has like the McNugget verse or something silly. Paris Hilton, I think Snoop Dogg. So a lot of the big brand celebrities are in the sandbox. So you could see that it's not a stretch of the imagination that you could see some synergies here in terms of what we're seeing on, Quid, really the Animoca kind of Mochaverse, if you will. And that's one of the NFTs I actually own. Way back in the day, I did some videos about Animoca, what they were doing long before it was like really big and cool. And I think actually before they bought Quid. But yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. First thumbs up. Hey, appreciate you, VV Zombie. First thumbs up. Let's go. And also the sandbox is going to be a different avenue as well. Not to mention, like, if they dropped on Quid, made them interoperable with the sandbox, it's a win-win for both platforms because it's like got that cross interoperability, meaning like, hey, people see these in the sandbox. Where do they go to buy them? Well, Quid is a super actually easy marketplace to navigate since, it first kind of really popped up. You can go here, and if you're looking for mintables, you can go to special category, click on mintables, and click apply. And it's going to pull up all these like NFTs. And as a matter of fact, I think actually, Comics and Crypto and kind of their team works on some of these like Satoshiverse or whatever. So I've seen people from the VV community kind of dabble in Quid, and even in some cases, I think somebody from over there actually works for Quid, or not works for Quid. Worked with Quid, sorry about that. But look at these are really cool. Imagine this, like if this was turned into an avatar, and I'm not sure why I can't scroll up there, but imagine if this was turned into an avatar and you could play with this character in like the sandbox, and they have different games too, is what I noticed. So I went over here, you go to interoperability. They used to actually have some games under here. It was like they had, I think it was, what was it? Life Beyond, I think. Was one of the games here, and under the Metaverse tab is going to be the sandbox. But there could be an opportunity here. Again, Animoca has a lot of games under their belt, and they actually have ApeCoin as well. So they're also heavily involved in what the Yuga Labs is doing in terms of their game. We've seen Animoca. They dropped Rec League, which I streamed here on the channel before, but you could see like some potential here in terms of what is going on under the Animoca, universe, right? And I just did a video about Formula E. Formula E is working with Animoca on they just dropped their game where you can go race and you can own some of those cars, drivers, and really it's digital collectibles, and you operate as like the team manager. Again, I can check that out here on my channel here. You can actually take a look at that video, but there's a lot going on in the Animoca metaverse, if you will. I mean, it is what they're building is actually really impressive from when I first started learning about Animoca, what they were doing, the direction where they're going. It's been pretty massive. So you can take a look here at my video about this kind of game that just launched. Again, this is under the Rev token, which is another Animoca type, game, if you will. You can earn Rev tokens by, racing and competing in some of these games. They even have like this other game. I think it is like called Torqued, which is really cool. I definitely need to showcase that. I think that's another Rev ecosystem type of token. Again, falling under that Animoca brands flag, So let's take a look if I saved it up on the Twitterverse. It's so like, let's see if I can find it. Lists, bookmarks, gaming, and pull it up here. I guess I don't have it pulled up. Let's just go back. Bookmark, sorry about that. Bear with me. There's just so much going on. They even announced today that they're working with an agency that helped publish One Piece, a mobile game. So that's another thing that Animoca is doing as well. I can't find it, but we'll have to circle back on it later. Maybe perhaps in a video or stream. But yeah, so that's all I got for this one. A lot of stuff going on here in the Animoca verse, if you will. So definitely want to check that out. That's all I got for this stream. I just wanted to show you guys like this news. Could it be could this be a kind of like sticker scenario, Web 2 collectibles, or could they be actually dropping kind of like these mintables that we've seen before? So that's, I think, the big question that a lot of people are going to be asking. Again, you can sort a lot of these collectibles on Quid just by going to the special category, checking mintables, and I've seen them in the past too. What they did with their own actually original IP is they made them into avatars, and or if you collected one of their older Web 2 collectibles, then you were able to get an avatar that was interoperable with the sandbox. So again, a lot of different things where they could go with this. Pretty exciting stuff, in my opinion. Now, if these are, again, SpongeBob NFTs, that would be massive for Quid. So yeah, that's all I got for this one. I just wanted to pop on here and find a reason to really just stream. You can catch me over on X, as they say now, as the young kids and Elon is saying, over on X, and just stay up to date with that. And I've been doing a lot of pretty news related type of content lately. I even dropped a community here for Web3 gaming. Been focusing a lot on Web3 gaming lately. I do believe that that's going to help lead the next catalyst, or be one of the catalysts perhaps for the next bull run. But you can join that community if you're into Web3 games as well. A lot going on, and what I'm doing on the back end, what I'm working on. So there's just a lot going on. And by the way, I saw Vivi with the the Funkos as well. So that is something that they're working on, the Fidgetals. Shout out to Pudgy Penguins as well. They got into Walmart's over 2,000 stores here. This is really cool. So this is a Web3 brand. If you don't know what Pudgy Penguins is, I just wanted to give them a quick shout out, by the way. Again, they got into 2,000 Walmart's. You can go into your I believe actually you can go to their website and find out, they have a store locator on their website, and you can actually locate some of these collectibles down. They have plushies. They have these cool little igloos with characters inside. They have figurines, and some of these Walmarts are being swept by some of these people in the community. So it's really cool to see. But yeah, it's about pushing the space forward as a whole, and seeing a kind of Web3 born brand is really, really cool. Exciting to see this type of stuff. Even with the Funko and the Fidgetals and what's going on there. By the way, Pokemon is absolute bananas. People always say, they can't believe people are collecting digital collectibles, but they're over here in person fighting for these Pikachu Van Gogh pictures and all, cards and memorabilia and all kinds of crazy stuff. Look at this, grown adults. But they are, seem to want to shake a fist at other people that are collecting digital collectibles, right? So interesting dynamic how things are sometimes. But it's like they're literally collecting digital cardboard. And they want to, or not digital cardboard. It's not digital, it's cardboard. But they want to get mad at people collecting digital JPEGs, right? So it's kind of a funny concept all around. But yeah, Pudgy Penguins, there's a lot of stuff going on in the digital collectible space. We cover it here all on the channel. So you definitely want to hit the subscribe, notification bell, so you can be notified of the latest news. And sometimes we stream. We definitely do some play tests on a lot of these games coming out. Like, again, we did that Formula E video. If you want to get involved into that, it's actually really fun. And my video, I think, is a really good one to get involved in that. But there's a lot of games coming. I mean, a lot of different blockchains. You have Pulsar, which is like a RTS real-time strategy game. There's literally so much going on, and that's why I made this community and why you should probably join it. But that's all I got for this one. Much appreciated. We have VV fans in the house. If you want good content, start talking about VV again. Yeah, but I that's not the only thing in the space anymore. So there's a lot of things. Again, this community is called Web3 Gaming, and that's where a lot of my focus has been lately, is where the Web3 games are. And so, yeah, I'm not going to get I'm not going to blow out numbers here in my content. I'm not going to just do VV all the time. I think a lot of the other creators are just a little bit too afraid to branch out. For me, I feel like I'm pushing the space forward in terms of what I'm doing and my strategy. I'm not going to always just pander to you guys and tell you guys what you want to hear. I'm going to go out there and do my research and tell you guys what I think about the space as a whole, and not just we're in this kind of only one project, right? I think that gets to a point where it gets to be where I don't want to be a shill, or I just don't want to be shilling just one platform. See, I'm kind of out there doing a little bit of everything. And, I think that serves, I know like you guys might not see it that way, but I feel like it's a service to people, even though like it might not be the popular thing. I'm willing to take that hit for you guys, but you can see here I'm on DC NFT as well. And I still go for some of the drops on VV occasionally as well. For me, it's about spreading it all out, seeing what works, monitoring the space, doing a lot of research. And guys, I'm so busy. Like you guys have no idea. I'm researching the Rune protocol on Bitcoin. What's going on with there, the developments on Bitcoin. There's Avalanche. There's like games popping off on Avalanche, off the grid. I have to go in and research all these different scenarios, all these different projects, platforms, games. Like the gaming scene is popping off. You guys don't realize how many games there actually are in the space. Of course, there has to be so much due diligence put in on some of these games, because unfortunately, some of these games are going to go belly up. So it's going to be, kind of that scenario as well, where you just have to do your due diligence. And not only that, I'm having to pay attention to tech and AI. And me and Chris Coffee had started a newsletter where you can stay up to date with AI, Web3 gaming, Web3, and what's the other topic we normally do? Anyways, yeah, we have a newsletter around all of that you guys definitely should check out. I've been doing a lot of some X content, and again, wider NFT content as well. You can see right here one of the more important updates, by the way, from Free NFT. They dropped a new standard, and this is really pertinent for the VV community and branded NFT community. There's a new standard called ERC 721C. Now, this is going to allow creators and NFT projects to seamlessly manage marketplaces, ensure royalties are collected. I actually talked about this like a year ago, really before anybody knew what it was and what royalties were. They didn't really know the complications of royalties and all of that. And I was the first person at least in the VV community at the time, to cover royalties and talk about it, and even what Limit Break and Free NFT were doing inside the kind of digital collectible community. Nobody else was talking about this, and here they are. This was announced, it looks like yesterday, or this was, I guess, 2 days ago, time flies, that they just dropped a toolkit for developers to basically allow their projects to collect royalties, which is pretty cool. It says here, this allows for devs to deploy NFTs en masse on layer 1 without the need for layer 2. So they have been like these people that are behind this platform, Igor and Gabe Layden, are kind of like firing shots at layer 2. So this is an interesting dynamic. Now, I don't know if this is the one all be all solution for, basically launching on everything on layer 1, but they do have an option. Obviously, if you could have a contract on the ERC 721C and collect those royalties, which I think is very important for games creators, publisher, everybody, right? People want to collect royalties, and I think that's important. And this protocol or standard is going to allow for people to do that. So I think that's why it's important. Fableborn, yeah, that is on. I actually did a write up on that for the podcast, for the PBN on their Substack. So I've been knowing about, I know about Fableborn. That one looks really cool. It's got a lot of traction in the Web3 community. I haven't tried it myself because those aren't typically my genre of game. But what I am looking at is Off the Grid, Shrapnel's coming out soon. There's My Pet Hooligans launched on Epic Games. There's a few others as well that I've downloaded that I still need to get in test as well. So there's just so much. Imagine all these games launching all at the same time. It's crazy. There's Phantom Galaxies coming in November 2nd. Man, this space is just wild. Zynga launched their auras and things like that, or staking auras. Via Sugartown. But yeah, there's just so much going on in the Web3 gaming space, and there's more money coming. Pirate Nation proof of play raised 33 million or something like that. Gosh, there's a lot. I need SpongeBob on VB, to be honest. Yeah, we need SpongeBob to be everywhere. I think this is where IP is going, and was one of the first to kind of say that in the community is, I don't think this is going to be I don't think IP is just going to be on one platform, right? I think it's going to end up being like Netflix, Hulu. There's going to be streaming apps. I was like one of the first ones to use that kind of analogy way back in the day in terms of some of what these brands are going to be, and to not be so too surprised if you see other brands on other platforms. We've seen DC do that, right? DC was dropped on VV, then they dropped their own stuff kind of everywhere, right? They had their own Wax, they had their own platform. And they did, what else did they do? There was like their own platform, Wax, VV. I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped on Flow Chain either, but I think they could do different unique things on each, either blockchain or, protocol or whatever app they are on. I think they should do unique things. I think brands should explore different types of, types of collectibles, right? I'm trying to think of a good brand that's good at doing that. Like I know the McFarlane brand, ironically, they have like their own collectibles that they drop in like retail stores. That's kind of an interesting thing to think about. True, but I know it would be dope. Kind of like, I guess just like DC, Marvel, I think are the two biggest like examples of licensing and kind of how they went about it in the physical sense. They, dropped comics, obviously in comic stores, but they have their IP spread out really among a lot of different toy brands. You see Funko DC, you see McFarlane DC, you see Sideshow DC. So there's like all these different types of brands that they work with. So I think it'll kind of paint out the same way. Like I don't think brands are like stupid that they're going to be like, let's drop an AR collectible on VV and drop an AR collectible on Quid. Like, I don't think brands will do that, right? I think they're going to do their own unique thing per application or per like, they're going to make it unique, right? And that's what I think. That's what I think it's going to happen. And that's kind of what we saw with Quid as well. Like, they dropped kind of that more massive drops of kind of like stickers, collectibles, fun type of stuff like that. Even Funko has dropped on Wax as well. But I don't know. I think this could be unique. I think it's going to go even further than that. I think we'll see, like, for instance, the Sandbox. We'll probably see, like, more and more brands work with Sandbox, kind of those, like, pixelated characters. We've seen Ubisoft do that. Ubisoft dropped on VV, but they also dropped previously before in the Sandbox. Like, they dropped it directly on Sandbox. Is what they did with the Rabbids, and then they dropped on VV. So I think a lot of brands will go that route. So I wouldn't be too surprised. Like different formats, trying to get basically collectors in there where they're at, kind of meet them where they're at. And then I think long run, a lot of these brands kind of opt into the interoperability when you have the ERC, like this standard right here, this ERC 721C standard. Behind their collections. So that's why I'm saying this is important right here. If you don't know what it is, you definitely should research this tweet. I tweeted a couple days ago. You can check that out. It's basically a toolkit for devs to drop their collections on. I think you can even migrate your collection to the standard. We've seen a lot of issues caused by royalties, like literally up till now. Like Hugo Labs has had trouble with it collecting royalties. Some people migrated to the new contract that they have, but so you have some older holders that just stayed on the same contract. So this could be a good solution moving forward, where I see brands kind of adopting these strategies for layer one, which would make it a little bit easier to be interoperable among different experiences. Layer one is still the gold standard in terms of NFTs, even though that the gas is like super, like they minted millions of NFTs for a mere $100. Using some of their toolkit here. So that's another big thing to point out that I forgot to mention just a minute ago. And why it's going to kind of compete, quote unquote, with layer twos is, so it's not versus, right? Like if you already dropped on layer two, you could just have a contract on ERC 721C, when you bridge or mint your NFT out to layer one, so to speak. So now I don't know what the backend, I'm not a dev, so I'm not going to pretend to know, but that, on the backend, how that would exactly work. But I think this is good news for brands and branded experiences and things like that. Again, Recur, they tried to do that and didn't really work out. But when you have kind of tools like this now, I think it kind of changes the game. But yeah, like a lot to look forward to. And I don't know if you guys saw, by the way, Zuckerberg and his glasses. I call them the Zuck bands. Speaking of being too early, Google Glass was too early. And they kind of ceased to exist. Now you have the Zuck bands coming, integrating AI into the glasses. You had Zuckerberg yesterday on a podcast with, what's the guy's name? Lex Friedman? I think it's Lex Friedman. Let's go over here. And he had a pretty crazy podcast with Zuckerberg. We're going to take a quick look at this. This is them in the metaverse with ultra high realistic avatar codec avatars. So they like scan themselves in Pittsburgh using like a super high tech like scanning facility, which is obviously not accessible to really anybody. But they showcase that this could be where the future is going in terms of metaverse, AR, VR, and all that. Just showcasing like super high realistic, avatars that look just like you and me in real life. Again, we could see the acceleration with not only AI, but metaverse. I know a lot of people don't like to say that term, but that's really kind of what it is. It's the blend of physical, digital, in my opinion, and so much more than that. I think to a degree, we're already there. Like I'm streaming my face into YouTube. Like, you know what I mean? There's like, to some degree, I feel like we're kind of there, but you need these more immersive experiences. So I think it's a matter of time. If you get this realistic, like, don't you think people are going to kind of want to own things in this ultra high realistic world? And that's why I think NFTs in the future are going to be one of those catalysts that, or not catalysts, but really just giving you the digital ownership, right? I think people will demand it in the future once they get their hands, once they start seeing this stuff. And I think this is kind of one of those aha moments that a lot of people are having right now. And I really think that to be true when they saw this podcast. Look at this, 10 million views. And I think this is going to get even more than that. And especially when this gets more accessible. And then you start seeing people actually use this type of technology. I think a lot of people are going to have those aha moments and kind of see the future a little bit clearer. We've always been talking about it on the channel, like this is where things are going, but a lot of people didn't have that mental image and didn't have that kind of vision to see this right here. But imagine this scaled, like this is all scaled. Now, it doesn't have to be ultra high realistic. It could just be goofy cartoon avatars, as I kind of mentioned in that podcast. But that's a definitely go listen to. Like if you want to check that out, highly recommend you go to listen to that Lex Friedman podcast. It's super insightful. Even though, like, if you like Zuck, you don't like, or you don't like or like him, whatever you think, you should still go watch it to do your research, as well as take a look at these. Again, actually, I think Meta is actually pretty ahead of the game here. I'm not going to lie. I think unpopular opinion, I think they're ahead of the game. Their Meta Quest 3s are actually more affordable than the Vision Pros, and probably what Apple is going to drop next, which is going to be the regular Visions. I think that it's going to be more accessible. They have controllers for gamers. I just think they're going to be a little bit harder to catch than people think. And, and Zuck's changing. Like, it seems like he's been more human-like, so to speak. He's been doing jujitsu. I don't know. My mind's kind of changed a little bit about Zuckerberg in recent times, but it's interesting nonetheless to see these big tech companies really compete. I know I've gone on a rant, but hopefully I can circle back and just to let you guys know that things are heating up in the metaverse arena and sector. And people are, the only way to own things in the metaverse is through blockchain. So that's why I don't think these things are going to, like, this isn't a fad. This is not, I don't think this is going to be like, a lot of people are saying NFTs are dead. I don't think that's the case. We're seeing volume still on a lot of marketplaces. People are still here. So there's a lot of things going on. Web3 gaming is like, there's a lot of games like popping off and there's a lot of action happening. So, end rant there. So I'll end that rant there. I need a SpongeBob. Okay, so true, but I don't know. Would be dope in the VVverse. Yeah, true. Although you could possibly bring in some of these NFTs on other platforms into the VV possibly as well. So that's also something to think about. So perhaps that maybe they don't drop it originally on VV, but perhaps maybe we can bring them into the VVverse. So that's something to definitely, be, I guess, expectant in terms of that as well. Augmented reality is the future, the true future of digital collecting. Yeah, I mean, back to the MetaQuest 3. I don't know if you guys saw that. It actually has a more powerful chip than the MetaQuest 2, and so it's like double the power. It has pass-through lens, so you can do AR, and I think it's going to be more impressive than what people are thinking. And I think Meta's just getting started, frankly, and so it's going to be an interesting battle. You know, Apple, Meta, and all that, even Google eventually. And possibly, and maybe NVIDIA does their own thing one day. I'm not quite sure. It's interesting times. I mean, this is a time to be alive right now, right? I know I thumbnailed this with like the SpongeBob thumbnail, but really this is so much more. I just wanted to do an excuse to stream and talk about all this crazy stuff going on in the wider space. It's truly fascinating, right? Not only that, it's like, the one technology that can make things interoperable is blockchain. So imagine like, yeah, your collectible is like an AR, but like, what if you want to play with it? Like, what if some of these developers like have an option to where you can make these interoperable in their game? And then you're like, oh, well, I want to go maybe in the metaverse and like the sandbox and then switch over there. So that's where I see kind of the things going. And I think, some people have kind of that vision to kind of see where things are going. And yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time to be alive. So I'm going to quit rambling. I keep saying the same thing over now. So I'm going to go ahead and end it now here on the stream. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. It is much appreciated. Let me know what you guys think. Is this just going to be a Web 2 sticker or Web 2 collectible, or is this going to be a mintable NFT? Let me know in the comments or chat or whatever. And I don't know. I don't know. You guys tell me what this is going to be. I already kind of tweeted about it on my thoughts, what it could be. That's all I got for this one. Much appreciated. Let me know what topics you want me to stream on. If you want me to do more VV content, I can. Again, I'm just trying to like diversify a little bit so you guys can explore a little bit more topics, like Web3 gaming, for example. And I've been a lot of these like Web3 gaming spaces in general on Twitter. I was on Mario. What's his last name? Nafal. I can't pronounce his last name very well, but I was on stage with their on their Twitter space with like 4,000 people. So I've just been talking a lot about Web3 gaming lately. Of course, I worked for Illuvium and Miria, so not too big of a surprise there. But let me know some of the other topics you guys want me to cover as well, aside from digital collectibles. Do you want me to talk about more of the kind of PFP projects out there that could have potential? I like to look into some of those. Hold a lot of NFTs in general, so just give me a shout out in the comments below if you want me to cover some specific topics in general. But yeah, gotta go, guys. Much love. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Peace.